my name. Actually, go back up. Restart from the top.
But the prophet, which shall presume to speak a word in my name,
Go ahead.
which I have not commanded him to speak,
Uh-huh.
or that shall speak in the name of other gods,
Even what?
even that prophet shall die.
He said kill him. Why such a grave punishment? Because look at what you're doing. You're leading people astray spiritually. That's why I always say I'd rather sit next to a stone cold murderer than a false prophet. Because if I'm deceived by the false prophet, I'm going to hell along with him. Whereas the man who's a stone cold killer, he can kill me and the Lord can raise me up. But he said, but the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. I said stone cold killer, but the false prophet is stone cold, for real. Verse 21.
And if thou say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which the Lord hath not spoken?
He said that, so how can we test this? How shall we know the word which the Lord hath not spoken? How do we know the prophet is a liar? Go ahead.
When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord,
Uh-huh.
if the thing follow not,
Go ahead.
nor come to pass,
Go ahead.
that is the thing which the Lord hath not spoken.
See, that's how you know. That's how a few years ago, they had, right before COVID, they had this man, he prophesied of the Lord returning. And they had billboards all over the country. October 21st or some date they gave in October. It was all over a multi-million-dollar campaign. The Lord is coming on this day. That day came and passed years later. False prophet. You look at the so-called Jehovah's Witnesses. Some European organization started in the 1800s. Listen, the Jehovah's Witnesses, that's Israel. I tell you that in Isaiah. If you ever look, they got false prophecy after false prophecy after false prophecy. He said, when a prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord hath not spoken. See, the Lord, he said, he tell the ear from the beginning, from ancient times, things not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. See, and he will tell the man of God what's going to happen next year, 10 years from now, 100 years, a couple thousand years from now. Moses writing about Jesus. But if it don't come to pass, why are you still listening to him? If he coming in the name of a false God, why are you still listening to him? Let's go to Jeremiah, the 28th chapter.
Verse 22.
It said, but that prophet has spoken it presumptuously, thou shalt not be afraid of him. Jeremiah 28. Jeremiah 28, see an example of this. An example of what? An example of a prophet prophesying something that did not come to pass. This is Jeremiah chapter 28 and verse 1. When you're ready, go ahead and read.
And it came to pass the same year, in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah, in the 4th year, and in the 5th month, that Hananiah, the son of Asa, the prophet, which was of Gibeon, spake unto me in the house of the Lord, in the presence of the priests and of all the people, saying.
So now this is a record of when this Hananiah spoke Hananiah was a prophet, and he said unto me in the house of the Lord, this is Jeremiah, who the Lord had sent, in the presence of the priests and of all the people, saying, see, and when there are dire straits, when there is turmoil, when there is trouble on the horizon, what you want, even in your own private lives, you're looking to the Lord for an answer. And so the man of God is supposed to bring you the answer. And so now this one rises up and says, I have the answer. This Hananiah. Verse 2.
Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel.
Go ahead.
Saying, I have broken the yoke of the king of Babylon.
See, the problem at that time was that man in Babylon, that king of the Chaldeans, Nebuchadnezzar. He said, thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, the God. So now he's saying he's speaking in the name of the Lord. He said, I have broken the yoke of the king of Babylon. Go ahead, verse 3.
Within 2 full years will I bring again unto this place of the vessels of the Lord's house, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, took away from this place and carried them to Babylon.
Now that sounds like good news. As a matter of fact, that sounds like something you want to hear. It was a problem. He had came in at one time. Now he said, I'm going to bring all those things back that he took. In 2 years. Now see, if you're looking and you know your nation is in trouble and peril, and you hear a word like that, what happens is you want to hear that. So often we hear something and we pay attention to what we want to hear. We hear what we want to hear. We want to hear that everything is going to be all right. Within 2 years, that's going to be brought back. I've broken the yoke of Babylon. I've broken the yoke of the king Nebuchadnezzar. Go ahead and read.
And I will bring again to this place Jeconiah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, with all the captives of Judah.
Because he had took some people captive. He took them as slaves. He said, I'm bringing them back. They're going to be brought back. He's saying this in the name of the Lord. Go ahead and read.
That went into Babylon, saith the Lord, for I will break the yoke of the king of Babylon.
Go ahead and read.
Then the prophet Jeremiah said unto the prophet Hananiah in the presence of the priest, and in the presence of all the people that stood in the house of the Lord.
Man, that's a heck of a word. When you look at the circumstances, he said, wow, his yoke is going to be broken, all those things, the vessels are going to be brought back that he took out of the temple, the king and all the captives are going to come back. Wow. Keep reading.
Even the prophet Jeremiah said, Amen.
Even Jeremiah heard that. He said, so be it. If it be the case, that's what amen means. Let it be. The Lord what?
The Lord do so.
The Lord do so. That would be good, but let's keep reading.
The Lord perform thy words which thou hast prophesied, to bring again the vessels of the Lord's house, and all that is carried away captive from Babylon into this place.
Go ahead and read.
Nevertheless, hear thou now this word that I speak in thine ears, and in the ears of all the people.
He said, and that's a big word there, nevertheless. Nevertheless, you done spoke big words. Nevertheless, hear thou now this word that I speak in thine ears and in the ears of all the people. Verse 8.
The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries.
Go ahead.
And against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence.
See, that's a lot of times the prophet is bringing woe. Go ahead and read.
The prophet which prophesieth of peace, when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that the Lord hath truly sent him.
So what did he refer back or allude to? He alluded back to Deuteronomy 18 and what we just read. If it does not come to pass, you know that this man was not sent by God. The prophet which prophesied the peace, when the word of the Lord of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall that prophet be known. Then shall the prophet be known, and the Lord have truly sent him. Verse 10.
Then Hananiah, the prophet, took the yoke from off the prophet Jeremiah's neck and brake it.
See a yoke on your neck? Jeremiah, the prophet of God, is telling you captivity is on the horizon. So he comes symbolically. He said with a yoke, and then he takes to yoke. This Hananiah who's speaking presumptuously, who's speaking his own word. He said he took it and he broke it. Verse 11.
And Hananiah spake in the presence of all the people, saying, Thus saith the Lord, even so will I break the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, from the neck of all nations within the space of 2 full years.
Man, and so now he breaks that yoke and say, this is how the yoke is going to be broken to Nebuchadnezzar. I look at sometimes people saying things, and I think people just say it because they telling you what you want to hear. They know the people want to hear a lot, so they tell the people a lot, and now they get prestige and fame because you're making the people feel good. Nobody wants to hear you going into captivity. But that's what they wanted to hear. And so now hopefully he said, hey, maybe if it don't happen, maybe I can make some money out of this. That's what's going on today. I can get paid off it. Because, the people forget. The people forget, short memory. But keep reading.
And the prophet Jeremiah went his way. Then the word of the Lord came unto Jeremiah the prophet. After that, Hananiah the prophet had broken the yoke from off the neck of the prophet Jeremiah, saying.
So now the word of the Lord is given to Jeremiah, and he tells him what?
Go tell Hananiah, saying, Thus saith the Lord, thou hast broken the yokes of wood, but thou shalt make for them yokes of iron.
He said, man, slavery is on the horizon. Thou hast broken the yokes of wood, the symbolic yoke of wood, but thou shalt make for them yokes of iron. verse 14.
For thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel.
Go ahead.
I have put a yoke of iron upon the neck of all these nations.
Go ahead.
That they may serve Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon.
And he brought judgment upon Israel and upon those nations through Nebuchadnezzar. He even calls Nebuchadnezzar my servant. Not that Nebuchadnezzar was righteous, but he was carrying out his will. He was a tool of judgment. Go ahead and read.
And they shall serve him. And I have given him the beast of the field also. Then said the prophet Jeremiah unto Hananiah the prophet, Hear now, Hananiah.
Go ahead.
The Lord has not sent thee, but thou makest this people to trust in a lie.
You're making the people trust in lies, in deceit. Just like now we're in a world of darkness, deception is everywhere. And then you got all these men claiming they're speaking for God. The Lord hath not sent thee, but thou makest this people to trust in a lie. Because see, if you would say the thing about the truth, once you hear the truth about yourself, you know what? If you accept it, the next step is to improve. See, Israel was steeped in sin and iniquity. It is foolish for us or anybody to think that if you as a nation are in a state of sin and wickedness and evil, that somehow, some way, everything is going to be all right. I'm here to tell you it is not. Can't be, won't be. The Lord hath not sent thee, but thou makest this people to trust in a lie. Itching ears, 16.
Therefore thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will cast thee from off the face of the earth.
He said, I will cast thee from off the face of the earth. Go ahead and read.
This year thou shalt die.
This year thou. So he told him, listen, you want to talk about what's going to happen. He told Hananiah, this year you are going to die. Go ahead and read.
Because thou hast taught rebellion against the Lord.
Thou hast taught rebellion against the Lord. See, when you now, first of all, you got to deal with sin. The problem, why? How could the chosen people of God be threatened by anybody? It's because you rejected God. And because you rejected God, because you are a rebel, now judgment is coming. The prophet's job is to tell you what you are doing wrong, the impending danger if you continue in sin. Verse 17.
So Hananiah the prophet died the same year in the 7th month.
So that man died that same year. See, that came to pass. That came to pass. And eventually, that whole idea about, hey, in 2 full years, Nebuchadnezzar's, his yoke will be broken, that didn't come to pass. What happened was Israel, or Judah, specifically in that time, went into captivity. As Jeremiah was telling them that was going to happen. But let's go back to Deuteronomy. Jeremiah. We in Jeremiah?
Yes, sir. Jeremiah
23. They found out what was going on at the time. See, it can't be all this good, roses and cake and everybody have. No, woe is coming if you in sin. That's why when I look at this country, how do you feel that everything is going to be okay? You hoping everything's going to be okay. You hoping you can sit down and watch Housewives of Atlanta and everything's going to be okay. You hoping that you can just go on your poor job and everything's going to be okay. I can just pay these bills and everything's going to be okay. When you don't realize the fall is coming. Jeremiah 23. Jeremiah 23 and verse 9. When you're ready, go ahead and read.
Mine heart within me is broken.
He said, my heart within me is broken. Why is it broken?
Because of the prophets.
He said, because of the prophets. Go ahead and read.
All my bones shake. I am like a drunken man, and like a man whom wine hath overcome.
Go ahead.
Because of the Lord.
He said, because of the Lord and what?
And because of the words of his holiness.
And because of the words of his holiness. What are the people doing? Look around you. Verse 10.
For the land is full of adultery.
He said, for the land is full of adulterers. Go ahead and read.
For because of swearing the land mourneth. The pleasant places of the wilderness are dried up.
Go ahead.
And their course is evil, and their force is not right.
See, there can be no peace when you have a land full of adulterers. He said, for because of swearing the land mourneth, the pleasant places of the wilderness are dried up, and their course is evil. And their force is not right. Who's the problem? Verse 11.
For both prophet and priest are profane.
The one that's supposed to teach you what thus saith the Lord, the one, the shepherd, the one that's supposed to keep you on the right track, he said, but for both prophet and priest are profane. Go ahead and read.
Yeah. And have I found their wickedness, saith the Lord.
He said, yeah, even in my house have I found their wickedness, saith the Lord. Verse 12.
Wherefore their way shall be unto them as slippery ways in the darkness.
So now you imagine you can't even keep your footing and it's dark. You in trouble. Go ahead and read.
They shall be drunken on. They shall be driven on.
And do what?
And fall therein.
Go ahead.
For I will bring evil upon them, even the year of their visitation, saith the Lord.
Even the time of their destruction. Go ahead and read.
And I have seen folly in the prophets of Samaria.
So the prophets, I've seen folly in them. I have seen folly in the prophets of Samaria or Israel. Go ahead and read.
They prophesied in Baal.
They're prophesying in the name of other gods. Go ahead.
And caused my people Israel to err.
And because of that, you caused my people to err. See, you wouldn't have all this sin and degradation and immorality if the man of God were true man of God and would stand up and tell the people what thus saith the Lord. But he said, I have seen folly in the prophets. They prophesied in Baal to cause my people Israel to err. See, they going to have to give an account. But you going to have to give an account if you listen to them. Verse 14.
I have seen also in the prophets of Jerusalem in horrible things.
So it's not just Samaria. You go to Judah, same thing. I have seen also in the prophets of Jerusalem in horrible things. What did they do?
They commit adultery and walk in lies.
Commit adultery, walk in lies. Go ahead and read.
They strengthen also the hands of evildoers.
You strengthen the hands of evildoers when you will not correct them. If somebody is steeped in sin, you need to tell them so that they can repair themselves so they are not cut off. But instead, you would tell them everything's going to be all right. The Lord loves you. Yeah, he showed his love by giving you an opportunity to change. Now you must change. Go ahead and read.
That none doth return from his wickedness. They are all of them unto me as Sodom, and the inhabitants thereof as Gomorrah.
Now that's a heck of a thing